All right, so let's go back. All right, the first bit there you probably was pretty simple, which was just reviewing how to do the sum. We've done that, but now we're in the. Oh, stop this again. So we did sum here, and that was just sort of. I'm not going to go over that because we did that yesterday. But we've been asked to in this cell here put a. I got a merge and center thing there. Let's unmerge that. Okay, so in our cell G2, what we're asked to do there is actually, I think we're supposed to merge this, maybe? No, that was cell C. No, let's just leave it. So we're supposed to put in here the word promotion so that column could, so what's underneath is going to be the promotion. Here we enter a formula. Now, as I said, there's a couple of ways to do everything in Excel. One thing that you could do is just click on the insert function, and that will give you a bunch of formulas. You choose the one that you like, and what do you know? The first one that it's got in the list is the if formula, right? And then this one does it so nice, right? So you got it this way. You can say, okay, the logical test, and I think, what was it? If a value in, so if, and I can click on that, I think it was E5. So it's this thing here. If E5 is less than 20,000, that's the logical test, right? So if E5, then what we're going to put here is our value, is we're going to say promotion. And notice I'm putting double quotes on that. And if it's false, then we're going to say nothing.
Recording in progress.
Okay, so hopefully that will work. So it's saying that there's a promotion because this value is less than 20,000. Now, if this value somehow became more than 20,000, let's do that. If I change, put a 20 in front of that. So the total will change to, well, we don't have a total. How is that I don't have a total? Wasn't I? Oh, no, there is, sorry, let's undo that and change this one. Put a 20 in front of that. Now the promotion goes away. There's only a promotion there if this is more than 20. I don't really get it, but anyways, I think this was supposed to be the total because it said E2, right? Let's do this slightly differently. My apologies. What's happening in that? Oh. So it's gone into the, let's do this one. Put a two in front of that and see what happens. I think that I'm in the middle of a all right, so let's see that. I don't know what's happening, students. I'm not able to actually edit this. I highlight it, but when I put my cursor on it, I'm like, geez, that's just weird. So maybe I need to save it or something. See what happens. Right. So this formula is there. There's no formula here. It's just a word. And I wanted to change that. And I'm not able to edit. I'm not sure what's going on. So that's kind of weird. All right. Wow. So let's try a try an auto sum. Wow. Okay. What it wants to get. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to leave it at that because it's just, I'm just getting weirded out by this one. My apologies, students. I don't seem to be having control on my sheet. I think what I need to do is close this if I can. I can't even close it. Oh, that's kind of bad. All right, so let's try now. Wow. All right. But you did see how we put the if statement in. It does work. As long as the values are less than 20,000, it will do that. And when we should have the word promotion in there. So as I said, students, I just I'm going to stop running Excel and start again, and I might have a bit more luck. So, I mean, I should stop recording because this is nonsense. Let's try again. So let's try again. First, we're going to do our totals. So how we do our totals, again, there's a couple ways to do it. I'll just do it the quickest way, which is the auto sum. And then I'm going to copy that over. And then I'm going to do, then I'm going to do the same here, auto sum, and copy that over. And there. And then I'm going to go and, okay, we had these other things that we were supposed to do, which was to merge and center. And then we were supposed to put in here, I said, gee, I think I merged and center is too much. So let's just put it here, promotion. And then in the cell adjacent to it, we'll just put it in this cell because it's kind of adjacent to it. I should unmerge that. I'm not sure how that got merged. Anyway, so we're back to kind of where we were. Here we put in our formula, and we could do it two ways. This is one way. I showed you that a minute ago. The other way to do it is we start with the equal sign, and then when we type if, then we can come up with the logical test. So our logical test is at this value. Oh, it wasn't that value. It was, so escape. Do it again. Equals the if this value was, oh, gracious, equals if brackets if this value was less than 20,000. Okay, so what we do is we put the logical test, then we put a comma, then we put the value that's going to happen if it's true, the true value. Now the true value here is going to be the word promotion. And sorry, and then we close a comma, and then the value is going to be if it's false. And I'm just going to have an empty value there. So that's how that works. So this is saying promotion because this is less than 20,000. Now to test that, if this became more than 20,000, then we see that the promotion goes away. If it's less than 20,000, then the promotion's there. I think that's enough on that. That's basically all we had to do. Then you put your name and number, change everything to currency style, it said. Okay, so how are you going to do that? Probably the easiest way is right click, go to format cells. There you're going to choose numbers and you choose currency. And that's probably the easiest way of doing that. And then I think that's all, right? And add your name. So that's that one. Sorry about the weird stuff that happened. That weirded me out as much as it weirded you out. I promise you that.
Sir,
Yes.
should I make a promise for all data?
The formatting?
Yes.
Yes. Yes, please. All right, so the next one is this. And what we're asked to do there, you open this and it's got a bunch of blank cells. So we have a bunch of stuff that we have to do. There's a bunch of tabs. So this is a very kind of cool thing in Excel that you can have a bunch of worksheets together in the same spreadsheet, and each worksheet has its own tab, and they can actually work together. And this exercise that we're going to do here, exercise 4, we kind of use the multiple worksheets in the same spreadsheet, and we tie them together using formula. And so it's a very kind of cool exercise. Let's look at it. Yes, I'm recording. So the first thing here is we have to work out a sales tax, where it's worked out on the quantity of, okay, so there's 3 things that are involved. We've got a tax rate, which is this number here. We've got the quantity and the unit price, I think. unit price, the quantity, and the tax rate. So those things are all multiplied together. So we do equal the unit price multiplied by the quantity multiplied by the tax rate. Now that's all very good, but the problem is that relative addressing means that when I try and copy this formula down to anywhere else, all the values get messed up. And the reason for that is because the first one is multiplying by this. When we go down a row, it will try and multiply by this, and that's why we get that value error. So relative addressing means that when you look at this formula, it says multiplied by E3, which is this is E3. If you look at the formula, which is correct, it says multiplied by E2. But we don't have anything in this column that we can really use to multiply to get this tax rate value. So we have to stick with this. We need what's called an absolute address. It's very easy to do. What we do is we edit the formula and we put a dollar symbol in front of everything that we want to say stay absolute. Now, notice I put $2 symbols there. Actually, I think one of them is an error. I just typed an S. I put $2 symbols there. And the reason I put $2 symbols there is we have to anchor it in both ways. We have to anchor the column and we have to anchor the row. So if you look at that formula, let's go back to that formula. The first dollar anchors the E, that's the column. That means that this formula has to stick with that column. That's fair. Well, it would be if we went down by copying through the column anyways. But the second dollar sign means that this formula is always going to refer to this row, which is row 2. Now you'll see when I copy that formula down using the fill, that it actually works. And if we take one of these and use it as a sample, we'll see that that's the case. In every case, the reference cell for our formula, E2, which is this one, is the same in all of these other formulas. The other ones are all changing, right? So we start here with B4 and C4. All right, we got B9 and C9, but in every case, it's always going to be E2 because we fixed it with the dollar signs. That's all we need to know about absolute addresses for now, I think. Okay, so use the fill handle, change the tax rate. Okay, it is 6.5. Let's change it to 7.5. So this is just a number and we can edit it as long as Excel doesn't spec out on me like it did a minute ago. All right, and when we edit it, we see that all of these things adjust. These are automatically adjusting because they're based on each other. And I don't, well, okay, so let's watch these numbers closely. 4.26, 61.11. If I change this to a 6.5% tax rate, you see everything changes. You can see the people in government who set taxes and stuff like that, they'd like to use spreadsheets for sure. All right, so we've got that. Now, the next thing we need to do is we need to go to the invoice tab and we're going to do some other things. So we need to look at this stuff here. I'm going to copy it and put it on that other tab so I can look at it while I'm there, right? So we've got some other stuff going on here. Probably should move it up a bit. See, all right, so what does it say down here? The invoice tab, delete the cell C5 and replace it with a reference to the total cost of the paper goods. Oh, a reference to the total cost of the paper goods. Well, the paper goods total cost is not found on this page. It's found on this other page over here. Look over here, the total, so it's talking about here. It's talking about this cell has to be referenced in this thing here in E5. So the paper goods, that's there. So you could see that logically, and it's always good to look at our tables as we're going and make sure that our formulas and stuff are logical. Yeah, we want the total of the paper goods, but the paper goods are all on a different page. So how are we going to do that? Paper goods are all on the paper. It's not hard. We're just going to take our cell here. We're just going to do the equal, just like we did in every other one. And we're going to say that it's equal to what? It's equal to that. And there it is. Now, when you look at the formula, do you see that it says equal to the page, paper goods, the cell on that page, E13. Isn't that cool? It does it for you. All I had to do is equal. Now, if we change the value, what's this value? 241.91. if I change one of these values, so go back and change the tax rate, that would be the easiest. Going to have a tax hike here. We're going to go to 8.5%. Remember that number was 241. Let's change this to 8.5%. Go back to our other page, and we see that that number is kind of changed a bit because the tax rate went up, and that's sort of carried over to the other page. That's kind of cool. So we're actually using a formula which is referencing another cell in another worksheet, but just happens to be in the same spreadsheet. All right, so I'm going to take this again, copy it, and I'm going to go to the next page because the next instruction refers to the next page. So as I said, this don't take very long, but in the menu order page, total cost, blah, blah. All right, so we're just going to go to the menu order page, and we're going to update it in the same way. So it needs to work in the same way. So that formula is kind of, I don't even need to copy and paste. This is the same as we did on the first page. We need the formula in here, which is going to work off that tax rate. All right, so we're going to do that. So equal, remember, it's going to be this value multiplied by this value multiplied by this value, but we're going to edit that value so that it is absolute value, so that we can copy that formula to the other rows in that column. And then that works. And then we're going to take this value and we're going to put it into the catering invoice. And then we're going to be done. Right? So because that value is not there. So we just go equal and move over to where we found that value. And there it is. And now our catering invoice has got all those values. And if we look up here, we see that it references the menu order page and the cell number, which is there. Isn't that cool? I mean, that's it. So what you were supposed to learn today in this exercise, which is another 5-minute exercise, really was how can we link worksheets, different worksheets in the same spreadsheet. And all we had to do was just point to them using our formula, right? When we start equal, then we're in our formula, we're starting to say, we usually reference a number or some other cell. That other cell can be in another worksheet. And all you have to do is navigate to that worksheet, and you can sort of do that. There's one other exercise there. Not really much to do there. I mean, I guess you could do it if you wanted to, just put an auto sum in there. Oh, it says line total, right? Oh, no, that wouldn't work. So that would have to be, it's the quantity times the price, right? So equal the quantity. So, I mean, that's another thing right there. We don't have instructions for this worksheet. So why did I just do what I did without instructions? Well, the reason is you always have to use your logic, right? You always have to look at what you're looking at. It has to make sense. And so this is why people in accounting are using spreadsheets. People in business are using spreadsheets. That's what they're for. If you're a business person, you'd know that the total price is going to be, if you have 15 items, the total price is going to be 15 times the price of the item. And that's what our spreadsheet is doing for us. And so you have to make sure, always refer back, use your logic, use your common sense. I guess we'd say, I don't like that word because it implies that people don't have it. We all sort of have it to some extent, but we have to train ourselves sometimes to look past the numbers and think like a business person, right? These tools are critical to business people. They save them so much time and can save them money, but they only work if we think a little bit like a business person. So I should tell you, full disclosure, I do have a degree in accounting. More full disclosure that I should say to you is that I started studying accounting after I had already worked as a computer systems officer for like 3 or 4 years. It was only then that I studied accounting. Now, why did I study accounting? Because part of my job in the company that I worked for, which was Telecom Australia, was I was an account executive there, and I had to sell computer time and computer programming, etc., to different departments in the company. And what I found is very soon I'm talking to these people that are kind of at the top of their departments, and they're starting to talk to me about charts of accounts and other accounting terms. And I'm like, what? Okay, I can talk to you about programmers, but what? And so I found out pretty soon, if I'm going to work in a business, even though I am a computing person, I better learn something about accounting. And I do recommend it for you as well. All right, so